Hello, hail and well met. It has been a while since we played any rogue trader. Hello Gandalf, can you see me now? It's been a while since we played any rogue trader because I've been kind of on a Path of Exile kick. Plus, I have to admit, Chapter 3 wasn't as good as what came before, so I was maybe a little tired out on the game. So therefore, I think it was good with a little break, and now we can jump back in and start Chapter 4. Hello, R Gaming, welcome! Also welcome to Gandalf, welcome to Lotan, welcome to Sans, welcome to anyone else lurking out there. How you doing, Bill? Alright, let's load in. So there was a lot of obligatory stuff that just bombarded us as soon as we got into Chapter 4. A lot of conversations we couldn't get out of. But as soon as we were done with those conversations, we saved and ended last time. So we've basically done nothing in Chapter 4. Komora's fun compared to the rest of the game. Very constraining. Yeah, that's kind of how I found it as well. Surviving, thanks? Yeah, better than the alternative. I wish you were doing better, Bill. I am doing good. I'm doing good. I am doing good. I'm trying to get myself back on track with the dieting and the working out and the stuff. Hated Komora. I definitely didn't hate it, but I would absolutely rate it lower than both Chapter 1 and 2. I felt like it didn't play to Rogue Trader's strengths. Alright, looks like the very first thing we're going to do is do some leveling up. I'm just going to level up my main character for now. I don't want to sit here for 20 minutes, level everybody up. We can do that when we start bringing people on missions. Okay. Hero Authority. Move, move, move. Ooh! I definitely want move, move, move. Komora is the symphony of failed checks. I actually did pretty well on most of my skill checks. We're just gonna keep pumping persuasion to ridiculous degree. Alright, so what do we actually want to do here? Still haven't found all the Gene Stealer cult. Go to Footfall. Go visit him. How am I? I am good, Gandalf. I am good. Thank you for asking. I'm suffering a little bit in the heat, but other than that, I'm doing good. Want to talk to Elliot. Travel to Dagonis. Find the world from Idira's visions. That's kind of low priority. That is back on Footfall as well. Namaste. Welcome, fan. Good to see you.
Oh yes, we got a streaker.
Hey, Sans. Thank you for the 5 stream streak. Talk to Janitor Ferenc. Also need to talk to Vigdis and Janris. A lot of stuff. Let's start by talking to Vigdis, who is right here. God, you're getting overwhelmed by while you were away. Yeah. The only reason it was so overwhelming is because I had like mentally prepared for, okay, I'm gonna end chapter 3 and then I'm gonna stop stream and we're gonna start chapter 4 next time. And then the game is like, but there's this and 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 there's also this, and there's this, and there's this, and you have to deal with this, and there's this, and you can't stop and save in between any of this. You have to do all of it before you can get out of the game. So it was kind of like the game just not allowing me to end when I had been preparing to end for like an hour. Took you 3 more sessions than you expected to actually escape Komorra. It took me, I think, I was in Komorra for 3 streams.
Lord Captain, the ship informed me of our imminent meeting.
Have the Vox spirits brought you anything interesting lately?
Perhaps you would be interested in a Vox transmission I intercepted not long ago, Lord Captain. The thoroughly encrypted message contained the coordinates of a landing site on a certain planet, marked as rare cargo. I've not been able to uncover anything else, but I believe the encryption was intended for those who are involved in unsanctioned trade activities. A multitude of scout ships tirelessly explore the expanse in search of new resource deposits, but unfortunately not all of them represent the interests of the von Valancius dynasty. I occasionally intercept Vox transmissions from ships prowling in your domain in search of easy loot. An asteroid the size of a small planet has been discovered in the Soto's tomb system, and the prospectors believe there may be wealth of resources hidden under the crust. And the last item for today. A few pilgrims from Footfall, who were graciously welcomed aboard, have been filling the crew's minds with tales of a world of the Ascended. They say that prayers of a world near the cold star Cinerus Maleficum have not ceased for several hundred years. They claim that the God Emperor himself chose the planet and raised all its people to his halls. Victus coughs over the Vox system's grindings. We have suppressed these rumors to ensure the crew are not distracted from their vital tasks, but perhaps you might decide to visit this planet, given its unusual reputation. Alright, that will be all for now. Let's see what Factotum Danrock has to say.
Pleasure to see you, Lord Captain. How may I be of assistance? I wish to hear news about the Protectorate, to keep appraised of things. We discovered a world that is home to a long-abandoned colony founded centuries ago by one of your predecessors. A ship was sent there, carrying several thousand colonists who were to restore the derelict settlement. After the ship entered its system of destination, contact was lost with it, and its fate remains unknown. Perhaps you might like to investigate the disappearance of that vessel personally. In addition to that, your ladyship, pirates have presented a serious problem for your domain. For centuries, a group of bandits headed by a ship called the Elusive Contempt have been raiding cargo vessels on their way from the Protectorate's most plentiful extractia. Their ability to deftly escape pursuit by patrols has allowed them to operate with complete impunity. The pirates' flagship has been spotted in a nearby system. Your ship, Lord Captain, is sufficiently powerful to finally chase down those brazen scoundrels and bring them to justice. The Astropathic Choir has received a series of alarming messages concerning the Nama 4 system, where a dangerous space anomaly has supposedly manifested itself. Its nature is unknown, but the fabric of space within the system is reported to be curved and unstable. It is said that any ship entering the region disappears without trace. I believe we ought to be prudent and steer clear of that system. The Factotum hesitates, as if unsure what he has to say is worthy of your attention. There is something else, Lord Captain. The ship's astropaths have caught echoes of alarming messages. Unidentified ships abandoned by their crews have been spotted in several systems of the Expanse. It may only be a rumor, but those who encountered them have gone missing. That is all, your ladyship. All right, thank you. I shall await your instructions, Lord Captain. So that was a few more things. No, that actually seemed like I now have less in my... Interesting. Alright, so who did I need to talk to? Hey, yo, Tony! What's up? Welcome on in. Not much. Got some chores done today. Got some shopping done. Now I'm getting some streaming done. Feeling pretty good about it. Feeling pretty good about myself these days. How you doing? It's good to see you. Actually, before I do anything, I see that I have leveled up once again. Just from that talk. Alright, exemplar talent and second tier archetype talent. Let's do that. And let's do... No, definitely not. Ah, sure, let's do Bloody Mess. We are just continuing Rogue Trader after having taken a break from it for a while. So Egan wanted to talk and Elliot wanted to talk. Let's go see Elliot. Where is she? Doing as well as you can be. Life's pretty cruel right now. Ah. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm sorry to hear that. If you want to talk, if you need to vent or anything, feel free to hit me up on Discord sometime. Where is Elliot? Oh, right. I handed her over to Heinrichs. But then why do I still have the path we lost? I guess we're going to go talk to Egan. He's down there. Might need to go to your cabin. Maybe. It says to talk to her on the bridge, though. Let's try talking to Heinrichs.
To what do I owe this visit?
No, no options for that. I think it's just a quest that hasn't cleared from my journal the way it should. I think that's all it is.
Rogue Trader, what disputation will you honor Nuncius and me with today?
I'm ready to listen to what you and Ferenc have to say.
His refusal to repair Nuncius is an outrage and a violation of the vows he has sworn to the Machine God. I will summon him to the bridge immediately, in the hope that he will not dare to prevaricate in the presence of the Rogue Trader.
Alright, I'm gonna look something up. Because I am not familiar with the word prevaricate. Oh, it just means to avoid telling the truth, speaking in a way that is unclear or indirect so as to not have to answer the direct question. Okay.
My lord expresses his mighty thanks for your continued loyalty.
Nice.
What's this now? Niddler! Thank you for the resub! Welcome, Bear-chan.
That's Bear Summer to you.
How you doing? Good to see you. Janitor Ferenc holds a servo skull in the grip of his steel fingers. Nuncius. A vox grill has been wired to the skull, from which the binary hiss of error-testing litanies can be heard. Eogan scowls in testy displeasure. I must admit, Ferenc, I expected greater competence from a colleague of your experience and intellect. I accept that you are unable to understand the delicate workings of my dearest companion, but your refusal to acknowledge your skill deficit and your attempts to disguise the fact with outrageous claims that he is in perfect working order... Ferenc cuts Egan off in a calm voice. Pride is not included among my operating variables. I register any error or lack of competence in my logs as meticulously as I do successful procedures. The diagnostic rites were performed in accordance with the catechism of maintenance and operation. The possibility of error has been excluded. This servo skull has no defects or failures. I am here to demonstrate this personally in the presence of the Lord Captain. Why have you attached a Vox to him? This model is not capable of independent communication in low Gothic without supplementary equipment. This is a temporary measure necessary to provide a clear demonstration so that you may address Nuncius directly. Very well, begin the demonstration. Lord Captain, I propose that you examine the skull personally and try to ask him any question you may have. It will prove most instructive. Ferenc politely carries the skull up to the command throne. Nuncius sits docilely in your hands. His eye is producing a constant flicker, while a grunting sound crackles from the Vox. Alright, let's examine the servo skull. The skull contains only a control microcogitator, an Imperium standard set of manipulators, and an autoquill for log keeping. All organic components are completely absent. Alright. Nuncius, can you hear me? Error. The requested identifier Nuncius is not recognized. Unit, specify your designation. Autoscribe servo skull. Designation 17-401. System status pending. 17-401. Have you been subject to any modifications? I need a bare audiobook where he just chimes in and gives his opinion on how bullshit the story is. So, like, me reading a book, but then also giving editorial comments along the way? That could be fun. That seems like a lot of work to record an entire audiobook, though. Seems like a fun project. I might do something like that, or maybe I might just do reading streams someday. If people really want to just hear me reading, I might just stream myself reading a book or something. 17-401. Have you been subject to any modifications? Number of modifications, 1. Modification protocol. Installation of a Vox grill by an authorized unit. Unit identifier, Genitor Majoris Ferenc. No data found on other modifications since the inception of operation. Funny to have a dramatic reading of 50 Shades while you tear the writing apart. I guess I could do that. From what I understand, having not read it myself and having not watched the movies, 50 Shades of Grey is a really, really extremely bad take on BDSM. Open access to the latest log entry. No authorization. Access denied. Authorization required by Unit Eogan Febris. Eogan, authorize access. After a moment's hesitation, Eogan grumbles. I am willing to suffer this gross violation of privacy if it will allow me to expose Genitor Feren's lies. Access to the logs has been granted. Hey, Zehel! Congratulations on beating Yinagu. That's another one of the Demon Lords. That's a big victory. Congratulations. Authorization received. Last available log. Attachment to Unit Eogan Febris, Styges 8. Attachment was effected after the assembly and consecration of Unit 17-401's machinery in Workshop Zenta 8. Since then, the logging function has been suspended pending a litany of reactivation. Seems like maybe someone factory reset Nuncius. What? This is inconceivable! Ferenc must have violated the integrity of the logs! Nuncius, what has he done to you? Error. The requested identifier, Nuncius, is not recognized. Oh, this is gonna devastate Eogan. Ferenc, what is going on? Where is his memory? He does not have one and never has, Lord Captain. No member of the Adeptus Mechanicus has ever granted this servo-skull the sacred boon of personal authorization, despite Eogan Febris's claims to the contrary. To retain information, much less mimic personality characteristics, requires a far more sophisticated cogiter and organic base. These are absent here. For the past several decades, this 17-401 model has been operating on basic settings.
Ridiculous! Ignorant fool! How dare you deliberately twist the truth?
Eogan stops talking abruptly, peering over his shoulder as if listening to someone. He is looking at the place where his dearest colleague usually hovers. After a few moments, the tech priest nods at the empty air.
Quite right, Nuncius. I should not have entrusted just anyone with such a delicate matter. Yes, I should have immediately sought out your expert opinion. We should stop this farce and repair you ourselves.
Eogan, to whom are you speaking?
With my dearest colleague, Nuncius. Who else would I?
Eogan looks in confusion at the servo skull in your hands, then over his shoulder.
But how? No! It cannot be, because I can hear him!
His lips quiver, and his fists clench and unclench. He looks pitiful, lost. Pressing his fingers to his temples, he squeezes his eyes shut, straining desperately to remember something. Suddenly his eyes fly open, and you hear a strangled moan. He looks at you, dumbfounded.
Rogue Trader, I must apologize to you and Janitor Ferenc. I see now. I see everything clearly again. The Omnissiah has granted me a revelation, but I feel no gratitude, only heaviness and pain. Would it be a heresy to beg the Machine God to take back this knowledge? Yes, perhaps it would. It's not Nuncius who needs repairing. No, not him at all.
He looks at the servo skull as if for the first time.
I'll take him back, and afterwards, find me on the bridge. I'll share this revelation with you, but for now, I need time to gather my thoughts.
So, Nuncius's personality is something he imagined. That's not really a surprise. We suspected that already. I still think that Nuncius is the skull of an actual friend that he went through training with. Something horrible happened to the friend, and he turned the friend's skull into a servo skull in order to keep his friend with him, and then he started hallucinating / imagining the friend's personality coming from the servo skull.
Rogue Trader, what disputation will you honor Nuncius and me with today?
It's time for us to talk about Nuncius.
Yes, it is long past time. I only ask for the privilege of privacy. This admission is difficult for me to make, and I can confide only in you.
Are we going to my quarters? Eogan looks aged. The lumen light on his wasted face casts each crease, furrow, and implant scar into stark relief. His hands, usually resting contentedly on his stomach or pensively tweaking the pistons on his chin, now hang limply at his sides. He hovers barely above the floor, as if some unbearable weight were on the verge of crushing him into the deck. He does not look at Nuncius.
Thesis 1. My mind is sick. This is an incontrovertible fact. I deduced it long ago, 49 years and 138 days ago, to be precise. After weighing all the arguments, I chose inaction, a decision egotistical in its rationality. I believe that, had I attempted to cure my insanity, I would have declined all the sooner. Thesis 2. There are two Nunciuses. This is also an incontrovertible fact. The first Nuncius is a figment of my imagination, the product of my insanity and, at the same time, the anchor that keeps my mind from further degradation. I project it onto a servo skull, a model with no additional features other than an auxiliary lumen and an autoquill. It is incapable of conducting a conversation or holding an opinion. I do not even know from whose skull it was made. Oh, turns out I was wrong. The second Nuncius is a genitor extremis of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Here we go. My dearest colleague, the person who could cope with my temperament, walking shoulder to shoulder with me on the path to knowledge. The only person whose presence ever made me feel alive. For the last half-century he has been in unending agony, caught between life and death, at the sacred site Amsankt. Because of me, all this time I have been searching for ways to save him. He exists, and is still alive. This is another hesitation, tiny moment that holds fear and hope, doubts heavier than an entire world. Eargon finishes quietly. It is a fact. You said that treating your insanity would make it worse. Explain. These memories are painful. Forming a rational understanding of the world, breaking it down into hypotheses, facts, conclusions, is not just my vocation, it is the essence of my existence. I have power over my thoughts, but my emotions, they bring chaos to my existence. They tear through logic and trample over calculations. If I rid myself of the Nuncius figment, I will be left facing a monstrous, insurmountable task alone. My efficiency will plummet, and the path to knowledge will be shrouded in mist. Paradoxically, my insanity is the key to preserving my mind and soul. That sounds kind of standard for genius. You're speaking too rationally about your insanity. How else am I to speak of it? My condition is a known fact. I have discovered it, assessed its impact, weighed all the variables, and settled on the most rational plan of action, which is to remove information about it from my memory by means of a ritual of transcranial electroconvulsive self-flagellation that I designed myself. The ritual is dangerous and unreliable, but it is better than the alternative. Every few months, I once again spontaneously deduce that I am insane, as I have just done, and I arrive at the same conclusion as before. Why haven't you performed your ritual this time? Your trust in me has already been shaken. You worked out on your own that there was something amiss with me. If I do not tell you the truth, then it will be irretrievably lost. The scenario in which I tell you everything is the only one where there is a chance of us being on good terms once more. I have an electroshock kink and need an excuse. Mechanicus colleagues to romance partners turn tragic? Well, I don't know. Maybe it was a romance, maybe it was more of a bromance. After pausing, he adds, the decision to eradicate a newfound knowledge is never easy. I understand why I must, but each time it feels like I am killing an important part of myself. I am afraid of knowing the truth about Nuncius, but I'm also afraid that if I forget it, I'll never remember it again. And that fear is not groundless. So the need to beat death is still involved in Nuncius' state? Yes. But I feel like that was obvious. That was pretty well foreshadowed. The intervals between my realizing the truth are becoming longer all the time. I used to uncover my secret about once every 2 months. That quickly turned into 4. Now it takes me as long as 8. This shows that the deterioration of my mind is accelerating. He raises his colorless gaze to you. So far, I have failed to find an effective countermeasure. I do not know if I will ever find one. If you keep forgetting the real Nuncius, why do you still seek a way to save him? The memory of an organic brain is not as malleable as mathematically sound data stored in cogitators. Memory cannot be fully exterminated, only mutilated. Moreover, it is not my goal to forget Nuncius completely, but rather to obscure my memories of him. I usually can recollect that there is someone in a similar state, and that this experiment is a priority for me and Nuncius the Servo Skull. The sense of time slipping through my fingers, the thrill of research, and an inexplicable sense of the import of the outcome all urge me to conduct these experiments, even if I do not remember for whose sake they are being done. What was he like, the real Nuncius? Not was, is, comes Egan's mild yet emphatic correction. Everything I said about him before is true. He compliments me in all that I cannot foster in myself. He is also my staunchest opponent. His skepticism and caution have always balanced my scientific optimism and audacity. We rarely completely agree on anything, but I believe that without our conflicts we both would have discovered and achieved far less. Ours is a symbiotic relationship. Together we form a whole that is more powerful than its individual parts. Egan, I need the truth. What really happened on Amsankt? Amsankt is a planet in an uncharted sector of space, home to the ruins of a civilization of technologically advanced Xenos. The Ordained call them Necrons. There we set up a research camp under the supervision of the Inquisition, and we set about searching for surviving samples of xenotechnology. And we found them. One of them led to the tragedy that resulted in Nuncius being caught between life and death, and me talking to a servo skull. He says this in an uncharacteristically dry monotone. Ask your questions, Teophania. I will answer them all. Alright. I am going to take a quick 2-minute break before continuing. My tattoo is healing and it's getting really itchy, and I have some cream to help with the itching and help with it drying out. I was going to apply it before the stream, but I forgot. So give me just a couple of minutes. I will be right back after I cream myself. Alright, I'm back. Don't have the DLC of this guy and haven't looked anything up. Wonder if you can save the real Nuncius and do the old Inquisitor tabletop games rights. Of having his head grafted to this guy's shoulder. Maybe. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Oh, dungeon raiding at IKEA. Because you got a set of plates? Alright. How does one get to Amsankt? That part of space can only be accessed through a special dimensional gateway. I do not know its exact coordinates or how to activate it. I assume that only the highest ranks of the Inquisition can answer this question. Well, it just so happens we know a Lord Inquisitor.
How did you come to be on the planet? Nuncius and I belong to a secret sect of Xenorites. Our path of knowledge is the study of xenotechnology for the benefit of the Imperium. Many of the priesthood of Mars who interpret the precepts of the Omnissiah very narrowly deem our path a heretical schism. After our ordination on Stygius 8, Nuncius and I went searching for samples of Necron xenotech, a nearly impossible task, and thus a fascinating one. One such expedition, we came into conflict with other tech priests. We were close to death, but the Inquisition, who had been observing our research in secret, decided that we would be more useful alive. Of course, it was only once we arrived on Amsanct that we learned that the Inquisition had been behind the confrontation. How typical. From the bits of information I was able to piece together, I came to the conclusion that the Inquisition was interested in that small sector of space as a whole, and that Amsanct was only a small part of the operation. We were transported there on a certain Chartist vessel for the purposes of secrecy. I suspect the Chartists were just a cover. Our expertise was invaluable for the study of Xeno ruins, so Nuncius and I were placed in charge of the research team and provided with all the necessary equipment. Excuse me? Well, what were you researching? We discovered a rare specimen in the ruins, a critically injured but still functioning Xenos, and some kind of artifact with it. The Xenos called it a refractive transmuter. Understanding how this artifact functioned was our primary objective. We imprisoned the Xenos and tried to uncover its secrets, but our equipment was incapable of hurting or granting us any insight into the device. We experimented with the refractive transmuter almost blindly. You said Nuncius was between life and death. What happened? The artifact. Nuncius and I had a disagreement. I was frustrated by the lack of progress, and I wanted to take a more radical approach to studying it. I wanted to experiment on myself. Nuncius was vehemently opposed. He argued that it was reckless, with insufficient data and unpredictable outcomes. Of course he was right. In my stubbornness and arrogance, I did not heed him. I removed the artifact from the stasis sacellum and reached for it with a mechadendrite. Nuncius tried to intercept it and inadvertently touched the artifact. That moment has haunted me for the past 50 years. The refractive transmuter began to rearrange Nuncius's body on a molecular level. Metal turned to flesh, and flesh to metal, in a monstrous cycle of wicked infinity. At times he would produce a scream, but after a second his vocal cords would turn to lead and his tongue to tin, and the screams would abruptly cut off. I had no time to reflect. To save his life, I had to hastily modify the stasis sacellum and immerse Nuncius in it along with the artifact. It did not stop the agony, but it did stop him from dying. It gave me the chance to find a solution. Locked away in the laboratory, I tried to find ways to reverse the artifact's effect. None of them worked. I turned to the Xenos, demanding information, with threats, requests, pleas, but its only response was contemptuous silence. I was utterly powerless, and then I decided to flee. So you just left Nuncius there? Silence, an empty gaze, finally a reply. New knowledge, tools, experience. I needed more. My staying on Amsanct would not fix the situation. I decided to flee to the Expanse and seek answers there. I couldn't take Nuncius with me, so I secretly diverted the motive force from the main generator to support the stasis asylum, placing the main camp on reserve power, then closed up our laboratory. Then, by means of deception and cunning, I managed to stow away on a Chartist vessel that had been delivering supplies and equipment to Amsanct. I disembarked on footfall. I have not returned to Amsanct since. All the experiments you have witnessed, I have conducted them for one purpose: to find a way to save my dearest colleague. me. I have heard all I wish to. What are you going to do now? I have no more secrets from you. I will help you return to Nuncius. We will go to Emsankt as soon as we find a way through the gate. Egan stares through you, looking lost. Difficult memories are dragging him away from the here and now. Yes, of course, we must get to Nuncius. I have to find him and finish what I started, don't I? After a moment's hesitation, Egan returns his attention to you. I have a request. I need to prepare before this journey. Before I joined the clergy of Alter Templum Ext-17, I had a small laboratory in the Aviorus system. I was forced to leave it in haste for my own safety, and important samples and records of my experiments remained there. If we want to help Nuncius, we must retrieve them. You cannot reconstruct them here on the ship? I'm afraid not. They were wholly unique. It would take me years to find new samples and regain what was lost. I'm certain that they are still there, which is why I am asking you for this courtesy. Very well, I will take you to Aviorus. Thank you, Teophania. If I may, I will leave now. I have much to think about. So we need to go to the Aviorus system. We need to go to Footfall. I don't know where this system is. Need to go to Dagonus. That's just the sword. And Iliad is gone. That's a Temer Footfall. Well, I think we're at Dagonus. So let's go to the Dagonus throne room, first and foremost.
Solomon and Thar.
No, we're at Janus. Oh, of course, because that's where the Eldar portal was. That makes sense. That makes sense. Alright, so first stop, we are heading to Dagonus. Makes sense that after returning, I would want to visit my capital. That's Furibundus, that's Aviorus. Oh, Mundus Valentius. Mundus Valentius, there we go. And we need to do 2 jumps, alright.
Lord Captain, there is an emergency at the officer's deck.
Victor's voice is quaking slightly.
Numerous victims, loss of communication. The Voidsmen report warp voices filling the compartments. But this is not a warp breach. This is the Xenos you took aboard at Janus. He has gone mad and went on a rampage. I have 2 fairly reliable witness accounts. According to one, the Xenos suddenly assaulted the crew members, gutting them seemingly at random. The other claims that there are survivors who barricaded themselves in the adjacent compartments. The enforcers managed to isolate the raving Xenos into a dead end, but they've been unable to pacify him so far. What will your orders be?
God damn it, Marajai. Such are the consequences of ill-considered actions born out of the lack of faith in the God Emperor's laws. I am ready to stop the accursed Xenos' rampage personally and repay every life he has taken.
Why am I not surprised? Heinrich's voice is oozing with poison.
Rogue trader, we cannot bring back your subjects, but I will gladly aid you in disposing of the rabid creature before it mauls even more people. Well, I am going to the officer's deck.
The squad of enforcers who had blocked the Xenos in the dead-end corridor is waiting at the deck. I beg you to be careful, Lord Captain, and may the God Emperor watch over you.
We're not bringing Idira, we're bringing Heinrichs instead. Even though I don't think it's going to come to combat, I think it's just going to be a lot of talking to Marajai. I don't want to kill Marajai. I think Marajai is very entertaining. And unlike Iliad, Marajai hasn't betrayed me yet.
Yet.
I mean, it's probably just the warp influence overwhelming him. The Drukhari travel through the webway. They never warp jumped like this. And it was also quite traumatic for Iliad, if I remember. Maybe I should have gone and talked to him on the bridge before making this jump. That would probably have been smart. Anyway, I have a couple of levels to sort out. Okay. Breakthrough. Oh, right, that's the one Marajai has. Forceful Strike. Reckless Strike. Yeah, we'll do Reckless Strike. We will do... He did, Sans. He did. But I still feel more offended by what Iliad did, because Iliad betrayed me while she was ostensibly on my team. I had taken her in, I had taken her under my protection, and she betrayed me. Marajai was my enemy, just doing his thing, doing his normal thing. He wasn't supposed to be on my side. He was just acting as my enemy. Now he's supposed to be on my side, so now he needs to start acting like he's on my side. If he betrays me now, I'ma fuck him up. But those previous actions, I will not hold against him, because he did change sides. At least, so we think. That's my take on it. I will up your athletics, I think. Exemplar talent. Yeah, he's not a very big dodger thing. Do Crushing Assault. And let's do... No. Not really loving any of these. Guess we'll do Taunting Defense. Okay, we can do Concentrated Fire. He doesn't really do area attacks though, so that doesn't really matter. No, we're doing Dash, just because the other options don't look very appealing. I don't really know what skills he's good at. Let's give him Carouse. That's a very Space Wolfy thing. Let's just do Vital Points, and let's do... What does Wounded Beast do? Oh, nah. Let's do Accustomed to Glory. Let's try to off him after using him as an aid in the arena. Here's the thing. One reason why I wanted to try and hold on to Iliad and I want to try and hold on to Marajai is kind of metagame. It's because I know my next playthrough is going to be a hardline, hardcore dogmatic. and I will kill both of these Xena scum the first chance I get with that character. So just to experience more of the game is why I've been keeping stuff like unregistered psychers, smugglers, and aliens around with this character. Solomon Antha. What can we get? Controlled shot. Ooh, dash might be really good on him. Ranged burst attack. He doesn't really do those. Ooh, controlled shot on him? Absolutely. I think he is one of my low Imperium anchors. Well, my main character has a higher, so no. Coercion it is. Let's toughen up Glato. Let's do... Let's do Binding Purpose. Oh, and she is way behind. Hold on. She's only level 34. Oh, wow. She needs to get some levels. Special ability for Wild Hunt. I never really use Wild Hunt. How does Wild Hunt work again? Do that one. Use it for a single target. Exemplar talents. Critical velocity makes sense on her. You fired up. That seems to fit with her. Let's up her awareness. And that is the wrong kinds of weapons. What's the catch effect? Penalty to armor and dodge. Sure, put that on her. Give her more ballistic skill. Give her... She already has everything with bolt weapons. Characteristic training. Agility. Concentrated fire. Entrance. I think rapid fire? Yeah, rapid fire makes sense for her. Give her awareness. Give her... What's Cataclysm? Yeah, let's do Cataclysm. And let's go down and do... that. Heinrichs. Do that. Do Contagion. Let's see what we have here. Psychic Extremist, up his psychic rating? Sure, let's do it. And lower warp. And wait, what's Eternal Glory? Nah. The mind. Willpower. Second sight. Extra range for his psychic powers. Let's take that. And then he gets a power. The regeneration seems pretty good. Warp speed. Ooh, warp speed seems good too. Charge soul. A little bit of damage. Lot of faith. Costs 50 momentum. Yeah, we're gonna give him warp speed. Hey, you found a pet rock! Congratulations! Name it Roxy. Let's do warp, I think. Let's do Death Dealer. Nah. Do Degraded Defense. Let's do what's Ready to Serve. Do Ready to Serve. Alright, we're done leveling up. Now for equipment, I seem to remember having a new armor for her. Why can she not equip Adeptus Sororitas power armor? Must not have this feature, Adeptus Sororitas. Is it just a power armor for anyone else? I guess it's just for someone else that needs power armor proficiency. Does she not have the perk to wear power armor? That doesn't make sense though. She's an Adeptus Sororitas. Her whole thing is wearing power armor. Kind of want to put it on Abelard. Oh well. Right, let's actually go do stuff. Actually, I was so caught up in leveling up, I didn't notice we had an ad break. Ad break is about to end. So I'm just going to take a quick break to go use the bathroom before we continue. So go grab a snack, stretch your legs, do whatever you need to do. I will be right back. Alright, we are back. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, Aurelia. We are about to go confront a Drukhari who has been causing havoc on board my ship. And I need a little refreshment before we do that. Delicious boomer juice. This place looks pretty warp infested. What are you finding, Glato? Somebody open the door! Open the door before he gets me! Playing through Grim Dawn? Nice! I am seriously considering doing all of Grim Dawn, base game, and all 3 DLCs as a project before starting Kazan. And if I don't do it before Kazan, I'm definitely doing it after Kazan.
Cast your eye there.
What'd you find? Ooh, loot. What do we get? A Mars pattern plasma gun. That reminds me, I didn't bring Pascal. I usually always bring Pascal. Oh well.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Fun community game night. Except it's capped at like 4 or 6 players. I mean, I don't think more than 4 people have ever showed up for a community game night anyway. The problem is that it's such a long game that one community game night would like barely touch on it. Because we play for like 2, 3, maybe 4 hours. With any luck, the Xenos will stumble upon some of the traps the Lake Technomat left behind. Corpse is missing its eyes and its face is horribly mutilated. Yeah, Marajai's just trying to feed. He's just trying to snack on some suffering. Because he's been the only one who's 5 people. That was only for a short bit. Did that probably more like a community stream playthrough of it? Yeah. I already have enough collab stream projects going on, I feel. Lord Captain, God Emperor be with you, and with all of us too! The Enforcer can barely suppress the tremors running through his body. Only you can deal with this spawn. Permission to report, your ladyship. It started a few watches after the translation. Well, actually, they say this associate of yours has been acting strangely even before that. It's as if he started hearing things. He was swiveling back and forth, barking something in his Xenos tongue. Then he grabbed his blade and sliced his hand open. His own hand! Then he suddenly howled and lunged at the people nearby. Can you see that? The officer looks behind him, glances around the deck, then turns to you with an alarmed expression. See who, your ladyship? Whom are you referring to, Lord Captain? I cannot see anyone, Teophania, but I can certainly sense a warp presence nearby. You're saying you can perceive it? Then the entity itself has decided to reveal its form to you. The real question is, why? Glyto hasn't spotted anyone yet, but I can see his hair is bristling. I don't know what's going on, but we are prepared to attack even an invisible target. Just relay its position to us. Where is Marajai now? Who? Oh, the Xenos. He's holed up in there. He nods at the barricade gate. He corralled a number of crewmen in there like groxes to a slaughterhouse. All we could hear was screams. Well, we couldn't save them, so we locked him in there so he couldn't crawl back out. Unless he finds a crack to squeeze through. The prospect of having a rabid Xenos crawling inside our bulkheads makes my heart sink. No, we ought to drag him out, Then we either put him on a chain or, forgive my bluntness, Lord Captain, we swat him down and forget he even existed. Who were the victims of this massacre? Anyone he could get his hands on, your ladyship. Officers, serfs, a technomat. He even attacked a servitor, although that didn't last long. He just tore its head off. The rest of them, though, the Xenos scum tortured the life out of them. You can see the color draining from the officer's face. Right, I've heard enough. I'm heading inside. We'll unblock it right quick, your ladyship. If only there was a way to flush that fiend out without going in. He stops and pales even more. Throne's mercy, I completely forgot. The late technomat, he turned on some security systems right before he bled out. We figured if the Xenos thinks about showing his face, those systems will get him. Yeah, but the systems will also try to stop me. The point is, we should go with your ladyship, with your permission. It just wouldn't be right for the Lord Captain to go in there alone. God Emperor help us all. The officer tries his best to speak calmly, but his voice is quivering. The thought of going inside the compartment that has become a death trap fills him with dread, bordering on panic.
None shall stand in my way.
Who is this? Is this the ruler of this vessel and the mistress of the lost child? Come closer, let me get a good look at you.
You lost to Moonlight Butterfly, Nittler? Are you sure your controller's working right?
I can hear the beating of his heart, the roaring blood in his veins, the pulsating fear in his black soul.
Oh, you were trying to study it. I mean, it's one of the first bosses in the game. It's not a very hard boss. Ooh, plunder my own ship. Ooh, an advanced medkit and master surgeon gloves. Nice. Alright, so who is the most qualified? Grab Heinrich's, aim his head in that direction. Intend to use him as a psychic cannon. That's less of a... we didn't bring her, but that feels like less of a Heinrich's thing and more something you do with Adira. Alright, who's the best at demolitions? It's gonna be... Oh, you have 85. That's very respectable. You have 120? You have 105. Okay. So...
We were trained to act as one.
Solomon. She'd go full weird boy and blow up.
Marking location. Reports. The bane of an arbitrator's existence. At the end of every mission, I'm at the mercy of paperwork. Looking for possible threats.
Hey, congrats on the victory, Aurelia.
Glato located something. Not a problem for a proctor. Check. Done. Easy. Not a problem for a proctor. Assignment completed.
Oh no, Nittler!
fiend.
Eerdix Gundyr, the first boss. I mean, you were only level 3, but that is the first boss of Dark Souls 3. Oh, is Fun Boss Fight not on? It should be on. Oh, there we go. It was just delayed. Oh, you mistyped it. Well, that'll do it. Okay, so how do I get through? Oh, I'm supposed to go through this door. My bad.
See? Right there.
Someone disarm that.
Check. Done.
Job's done.
I have come because the prince wills it. The soul of all his progenitors belong to him alone. None will escape his embrace.
Yeah, well, you just try manifesting. We'll see how that goes for you. Let me just switch up this formation a little bit.
There we go, the arrowhead.
It's about time.
Cast your eye there.
Easy.
I'm glad I brought someone who knows their way around demolition for this. I just hope I don't have to make any really hard tech use checks. Marajai jerks his head up when you appear. His already gaunt face is tightly wrapped in pale grey parchment-like skin. His teeth are bared feverishly, and his dark eyes have turned into two pitch-black mirrors that could show your reflection clearly if you were to gaze into them. He opens his mouth, but instead of words, an unnatural rasping hiss comes out. If this creature ever possessed intelligence, there is no sign of it left. At last! The resonant voice that has followed you on your journey through the deck sounds like it is coming from every direction, chilling you to the bone. At last we meet, my poor child. Look at him, mortal. Look at how he yearns to return to the one whose caress his kind rejects so stubbornly. Come, child, follow my voice, and my prince will grant you all the bliss and torment in this universe. We have such sights to show you. Angels to some, demons to others. Don't cry. It's a waste of good suffering.
It's a trap!
This ends now. Heinrich draws his weapon, and the air around him grows colder. We are putting the rabid beast down for good. The warpspawn laughs musically. Ha 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 ha. Sooner or later, all of his kind will step into my embrace. The prince is patient. The prince knows that every Eldari soul is already his. Yeah, I remember that, Aurelia. That is exactly what happened. The demonet's voice suddenly forces itself inside your mind. But if you let me get close to the lost child, if you lull him into letting his guard down, my prince will reward you, Teophania. The soul of this pathetic Xenos is a small price to pay for the blessings that come with my master's favor. I will try to bring him to his senses. Drakari stares at you without blinking. teeth still bared. His frenzied expression frozen like a mask. You hear hissing again, this time lower and angrier than before. Look closely at Marajai. Marajai, half crouched, is teetering slightly, and that is the only movement you can see. His body language shows that he is ready to attack, as do the blood-stained blades he is holding. Marajai, can you hear me? Let's talk. Your confident voice reverberates through the metal room. The Drukhari blinks, then blinks again. The mirror-like surfaces of his eyes seem to ripple, as if something else is beginning to surface apart from the soulless reflection, something vaguely resembling awareness. Heinrichs, use your biomancy to dull his reflexes. Heinrich's eyes narrow. Why are we wasting time and entertaining the risks of using psyker abilities in the warp? For what? So that you can keep your pet predator? Isn't it about time you rid your menagerie of this exotic menace? Heinrichs, please. I want to avoid spilling even more blood. The interrogator gives you another look, then shakes his head and raises a hand. The temperature drops considerably. Nothing happens for a few moments, but then Marajai slowly sinks to his knees. His transfixed eyes close slightly, and an anguished crease appears on his brow, as if the Xenos is waking from a nightmare. What about all that talk of the great Eldari race? If only you could see yourself now, you worthless, quivering beast. A mirage was all it took for you to soil yourself. Welcome, Diamondback. Marajai blinks, and his eyes ignite with a familiar look of fury and wounded pride. I will rip out your tongue and make you swallow it piece by piece, along with your own teeth. The air behind Marajai ripples, and you watch as the demonette's faintly visible silhouette bleeds out of thin air. The horrible mouth is sneering triumphantly. The large pincer is rising higher and higher. Marajai, behind you! The demonette brings her pincer down on Marajai's head and clangs against the raised blade. Marajai crouches and shoves the shrieking warp entity away from himself. No! No, you're mine, Marajai! You're mine!
I'll purge you from existence.
I will revel in your suffering.
Okay. No, she mispronounced it, Aurelia. He's a mime. He is very good at showing intent and emotion just with physical movement and no words. And we are surrounded... Oh, deck enforcers. And another ecstatic demonette. Ulfa, put you forward here. Abelard, put you all the way up. Well, we don't want to get you too close to Marajai. You know what? Ulfa, let's just put you right in the thick of it. Abelard, put you here. Heinrichs, you can deal with this one. Argenta, put you over here. Solomon, put you here. And the rogue trader kind of in the center. Put you in here. And go. Solomon gets to go first. I just do this. That should clear these two. Then we run and gun. Up here. And clear him.
It won't take long unless.
And then that's dealt with. And then... Oh, he's still alive on 1 HP. We'll have Glato deal with that then. Glato,
Glato, we're undertaking this task.
get rid of that. And then Glato, go and protect
Let's test our skills.
Abelard for now. Wait, why does he still have 1 HP? I don't get it. Something magical is keeping him alive, I guess. I don't know. Just gonna leave that there. Oh, and she's gonna summon more? Okay. Good to know. Sounds like we need to laser focus her. What does Cloud Mind do on him? Doesn't look like it affected much. Right, Argenta. Might hit Ulfar with this, but I think it's worth it.
I will bathe this battlefield in righteous fury.
Alright.
Doubt is for the
Furious
weak.
Recital. Mark you as
I'll do it.
prey. We're gonna do
As the
Cold.
Emperor commands, I act.
We're gonna do controlled shot.
Faith without deeds is worthless.
Then we're gonna burst. And then we're gonna
I'll do
run
it.
and gun. For another shot.
Did the Old Father take your sight or your mind?
Turn.
Minds exist only to be satisfied.
I think Cloud Mind is causing them to skip turns.
Skitya, my Karamite hide is strong.
Minds exist only to be broken.
No, I guess not.
Does not become
I really want to focus on taking down the Artisan of Pain. Okay, so they're both in melee, which means we have to switch to the pistol.
none can
There we go. And we melee attack you. And we kick you. Deactivate steady superiority. We can put another burst into her. Missing everything. And then that is turn for him. Now Heinrichs. Word of the Emperor.
Let's
Here?
see to it. But
Shield of the
course,
Emperor.
Lord Captain.
Hammer
I
of the
won't object to
Emperor.
it.
God, Emperor, shield us from this witchcraft.
Take that. Does he need to iron on? Have iron on
Let's
himself.
see to it.
And then this is a major psychic power that will take us over. Or just a regular strike. Still does 100 damage. Then endure, so he can tank. And that is going to be his turn. Teophania. Can I voice of command Marajai? I can. Does that mean I can also break their ranks on Marajai? No.
Never wavered in the face of adversity.
Is it a range thing? No. The null directive does something. What's the null directive? Don't even know. It's somewhere in this giant pile of stuff. Well, that was a bit of a waste then. Alright. Assign objective.
Not a problem for me.
That thing.
Already done.
Magenta, serve me. Inspire.
Nothing I
Magenta. Bring it down.
Absolutely not.
God damn it.
All too easy.
Fine, bring it down, Marajai.
Kneel before me, prating!
Brink of agony.
Are you warrior of anguish?
Alright, you know what? That wasn't bad. Now, I'm gonna move up here. And since I don't have any action points, I am going to... Who's gonna deal the most damage? I actually think Argenta might deal the most damage. Let's see. That one does... No, he's gonna do the most damage. Alright. Finest hour on Ulfar.
Glory to my bloodline.
Ulfar's gonna charge. Ulfar's gonna kick her.
Sings in ecstasy.
Ulfar's gonna walk over here. Might eat an opportunity attack along the way, but we don't care. And Ulfar's gonna switch weapons. And Ulfar is going to devastating attack. Ulfar is going to rapid fire. And then full burst into this thing. Thus killing the Architect of Pain and one of the random thingies. And then a single shot should bring that out of play. And then switch weapons. Head up here. And do a melee attack. And then that is all he could do. Then I forgot to do Inquisitor's Decree. And then we do Transcend the Potential
Not a problem.
on Heinrichs, allowing him to Daring Breach.
Mine to grant. For the throne, the Inquisition sends their guards. I won't object to it. Be gone.
Guess what? Is it chicken butt?
Get me a target. Let's see to it.
Oh, this guy's bugged or something. Oh, there's a cute emote. I like that emote. That is her turn done. Now Abelard.
That's ethically sound of it. I took care of this one.
There we go. Marajai turns to you, looking the same as ever, with the exception that you can see grayish-blue veins through his parchment skin, and something resembling terror in his eyes.
They're gone, Teophania. Gone, but still lurking at the threshold. Keeping watch, I can hear their whispers. How do monkey bear them for days and days on end?
You hear genuine confusion in his voice. Heinrichs is looking at you intently. You realize that the cold sensation still remains. The interrogator is ready to strike, waiting for you to say the word. Marajai, are you sure you've regained your senses?
I never... Marajai gnashes his teeth. I forgot myself for a moment. Nothing more.
Your presence is causing me a great deal of grief, Xenos.
Marashai's voice turns into furious hissing. Your kind step beyond the veil with nothing but your crude technology and prayers to a deaf god, and you expect those such as I to rely on such paltry protection from the terror of she who thirsts?
One of the enforcers lets the emotion get the better of him.
Throne's sake, Lord Captain, why are you even listening to him? That there Xenos is worse than a wild beast. How can a ship that sails in the God Emperor's light allow one of his enemies to act like he's the master here? Marashai looks at the man hungrily. The living meat that serves you talk too much. They would, however, make for perfect playthings. He looks straight at you. I need strength in order to suffer through your oafish voyages beyond the veil. If I don't obtain a source of such sustenance, Cylon Thresh will only keep testing my limits.
I mean, that is true, Aurelia, but at the same time, I'm not gonna let him keep doing this. Lord Captain, the officer has a point. Abelard glowers at Marajai. If things continue on like this, we might end up with a mutiny on our hands. A massacre during every warp jump. As if we didn't have enough troubles to deal with on days like this. He shakes his head. I will change nothing. Marajai is free to hunt wherever he pleases. Absolutely not. I forbid you from moving about the ship unsupervised, and from here on out you will be kept under lock and key during warp jumps. The alternative is death. The choice is yours. Marashai freezes. You meet his enraged gaze, filled with the promise of torture and agony. But then you almost see something inside him give, forcing him to incline his head slightly.
Let it be as you say, Teophania.
The officer cannot suppress a relieved sigh. Well, that's something at least. Many thanks, your ladyship. That is a compromise. And I know Ulfar probably isn't happy. Argenta is furious. Heinrichs is fucking boiling. But that's the way it's gonna be. I want my Eldari pet. I just gave up one Eldari pet because it betrayed me. So now I want to keep my other Eldari pet. As far as I can. It doesn't seem to be anything here of interest. Oh, and just as I say that... What do we have here? Arch Strategist's Visor. The wearer gains an additional stratagem. All allies in the target combat tactics area instantly reload their weapons after each attack. Until the start of the wearer's next turn. Oh, that might do well on Jai. Adding to the list. He checks it twice. Yeah. Again, I would probably be more inclined to just throw out Marajai if I didn't know that I'm going to be doing exactly that on my next playthrough. My next playthrough is going to be completely zero tolerance, hardline dogmatic. So I am deliberately kind of going against that for this playthrough. Honestly, planning a heretical run, that will probably be my third run. My third run will probably be a heretical run, yes. However, what you're watching now is going to be the only streamed playthrough. The dogmatic and heretical runs are going to be something I do just for myself off stream, mainly for the reason that I don't want to be streaming this for 2 years.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Not sure you'd be done with 3 playthroughs in 2 years. I think I would if that was all I did. If, like, all I streamed was just Rogue Trader. God damn, my tattoo's a little itchy. Right. Let us go to Mundus Valancius. Permission to report, Lord Captain. Salbak's voice is resonant. Mistress Kibella has been apprehended by enforcers at the scene of a crime. Eyewitness saw her assault and kill the esteemed chirurgeon Majoris. She has confessed to the murder. The penalty for murdering a senior officer is death. However, given Mistress Kibella's honorable service and her special status, I dare not proceed without your permission. She is incarcerated and awaiting your judgment. Let me know when you are ready to hear her case. Well, let's look into that. No, that's not who I need to talk to. This is... wait. There she is. Lord Captain, Mistress Cabela is awaiting your judgment. Would you like her brought in? I met your cousin, Macarius. May I ask your opinion of him, Lord Captain? You're right. He's quite a scoundrel. I apologize for my cousin's behavior, Lord Captain. She grinds her teeth. Macarian has always been a grouch, but a loyal one. See how many murders, massacres, and assassinations can be squeezed into one voyage? Oh, just... yeah. I mean, it's gonna be even worse than my heretical playthrough. My heretical playthrough, I'm actually going to embrace and accept any offer of, like, demonic aid or power. I'm going to be sacrificing people left and right. Basically just always taking the evil heretical option. So, this is kind of the middle of the road one. Bring Kibella here. I want to know what drove her to murder. Let justice be done. Lord Captain, a murder has been committed on this ship. The victim is one Letard Forius, Chirurgeon Majoris. The perpetrator was apprehended at the scene of the crime, admitted her guilt, and did not resist arrest. Kibella appears cold and apathetic. Her unblinking eyes stare vacantly, her expression odd. The Forius clan invoked a ship's tradition and summoned a requiescator to testify on behalf of the deceased. The masked man bows stiffly and decorously. A requiescator. Explain. When there's no one to speak for a deceased person in court, their representative is entitled to seek assistance from a member of the Requiescators Guild. Their duty is to know and remember each and every person on this ship so that they can defend the interests of the deceased and represent them in court. They study the victim's entire life history to gain the most detailed impression of their personality, deeds, and aspirations. The guild was founded by one of your distant ancestors, and, to my knowledge, the Requiescators only exist on our glorious flagship. How do you feel, Kibella? I'm fine. Kibella turns her face towards you slightly. A whisper escapes her lips. This is just hollow ceremony. Pointless. Why is a Requiescator speaking for the late Forius? Does the man not have a family? The clan to which the deceased belonged are wary of bringing accusations against the Lord Captain's companion, and the esteemed Letter never made any courageous friends in his life, having always preferred his work to the company of others. Alright, tell me about the circumstances of the murder. The eyewitness accounts didn't give us much. The deceased and the murderer had a brief conversation, following which Mistress Kibella beheaded the Chirurgian Majoris. The witness did not overhear any details of the conversation. Is it true that you killed him, Kibella? Yes. Neither the Chirurgian's death nor her own impending punishment seems to trouble Kibella. Her pensive, dark gaze wanders around the bridge. It was me. Why did you do it? The heartless man enjoyed what he did. His work should have been a holy mission of service. The pain of thousands should have been a solemn sacrifice. Yet he derived pleasure from it. It was repulsive. The Undying One never whispered his name. I myself decided to sever his thread. Ooh. Marishai shrugs. So she felt like killing some servant. Why do they all take such offense? Is every corpse going to cause such a stir from now on? I told you it would end like this. But why would anyone listen to little old Jai? She shakes her head sullenly. Her colors have changed. The scarlet and the gold are drowning in the rage of muddled crimson, the misty blues of sorrow, and the impenetrable greens of doubt. These shades are all in conflict, melding together in a frenetic tapestry. She was never sane to begin with. Judging lunatics is a thankless duty. The more important thing to address here is that her cult is guilty of having drilled the notion of chosenness into her head. The whole sect must answer for this incident. Alright, let's hear from the victim's representative. The masked man's voice is unpleasantly creaky. Let's see if I can do an unpleasantly creaky voice.
The esteemed Letard served this void ship and this dynasty for many years. He treated the sick and gained new knowledge as his trade commanded. He saved many, but he himself was not saved. He caused Mistress Kibella no grievance. He never offended her. He merely answered her questions regarding his work, whereupon he was attacked. And so he has the right to demand a reckoning. The death of his murderer would be lawful and proportionate retribution.
Say when you start doing a voice. Oh, I'm not doing a voice. That was just my real voice. The heartless man did more than heal people. He maimed them too, tortured them, killed them slowly, and observed. He treated the sick and he gained knowledge. The masked head jerks up haughtily. The boots of those who walk the path of wisdom leave bloodied footprints. It is a rule that existed long before the esteemed Letard did. Whom specifically did Forius torture? Unimportant people, common people,
doomed people.
The Requiescator shakes drops of imaginary blood from his hands with disgust.
This was the esteemed Letard's way of thinking. Does a doomed leper care whether the disease or the knife is causing them pain? Is the formula for a medicine that would cure distinguished officers not worth the lives of a few dozen commoners turned test subjects? With the knowledge he gained, he invented a multitude of bombs, antidotes, and treatment methods that went on to save thousands of lives.
His methods were revolting.
His methods were efficient. Only one who has never laid upon an operating table would prefer a principled healer to a competent one.
Not bombs. Bombs. B-A-L-M. Alright, I've learned enough. We humbly await your verdict, Lord Captain. The Hippocratic Oath. No, it's the Imperium. It's the Theocratic Oath. The Hippocratic Oath has been replaced with the Theocratic Oath. The Hippopotamus Oath? What do the GIF have to do with this? The Forius clan will be rewarded a generous indemnity for their loss, to be paid by me.
I humbly declare that the esteemed Letard was indifferent to the fortunes, good or otherwise, of his estranged kinspeople whom you have made rich, and that he would not be satisfied with this ruling.
I cannot be put on trial. Kibella's words are barely louder than a whisper, but everyone hears them. She raises her head, face deathly pale, as if she is asleep with her eyes open. None have the right to judge a spinner of death. Are you so sure about that? Here's the Vizier. Only he can judge. Though the Vizier's eyes are sewn shut, one can still read the grief that permeates his wrinkled features. He whispers in a sorrowful voice. You have strayed from the thread. You have doomed the tenets of the blood-spun web to oblivion. What a sorry end. For me, not for you. For I am compelled to usher my apprentice's soul to the other side before it is my own time to go. Why have you come here, Vizier? To take the one who no longer sees the tenets, to give her to him. She is dangerous, to pacify her forever. Such is my duty, and so it must be. Did he whisper my name to you? I do not believe you, Mentor. I am loyal to him. You must have been confused and misread his signs. What is happening to her? She's not herself. The second spinner is in the throes of a spiritual ailment that we call doubt. This most terrible ailment, though harmless to layfolk, is deadly to us. For a doubtful spinner will stray from their destined thread and into bloodthirsty madness. Doubt brings them to the Undying One before their time. Our service is demanding. It requires clarity and a sense of purpose that she no longer possesses. Long have I sensed the seeds of anxiety in her, but I hoped her reason would prove stronger and prevail. Alas, now I see the mark of dependence on her. Alas, I know that I am not mistaken. This is my fault. This is my fault for basically seducing her. There must be a way to help her. How would one heal the soul of another Domin? She is fighting a losing battle inside her mind, one she has all but lost. We cannot enter her mind. We cannot reach out a hand to her. Although, you could. A thread binds the Domin and her shadow together. A rare thread. A shared thread. Will that connection be enough for your souls to enter into harmony? Well, I must attempt to save her at the very least. The Vizier turns his face towards Kibella, who seems withdrawn. Her spark snuffs out. He whispers, "Then seek a steward of souls, an artisan who will put you both in a psyker's trance, allowing your minds to become one. You have a chapel full of astropaths, Domin. One of them will surely do you that service. See that their guidance is strong, for inside her soul you will encounter monsters. A doubt-ridden mind is a dangerous place." Ooh, interesting. Enter Capella's mind in the astropathic chapel. Yeah, let's go do that. Let us go do that right. Actually, let's save before we do anything else. And then let's go do that. Do, 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 do. You know what this is also making me want to do? This is also really making me want to move Pathfinder Kingmaker and Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous ahead in the list of games I want to play. Oh, is this my... oh, I went the wrong door. Yeah, exactly. That's why, Aurelia. I have been wanting to stream them for a while. Just like with so many other things, I just haven't gotten around to it. Astropathic Chapel. Oh, it's way back there. So I need Kibella. Kibella, come with me. I don't think there's going to be combat, but in case there is... Abelard, Heinrichs, Argenta, Ulfa. No, we're going to leave Ulfa out. I'm going to bring Solomon. I really have the problem of too many games I want to stream.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Your ladyship seldom comes here without a reason. How can I be of service to you today? Can you put me in a trance with Kibella? I need to get inside her mind. A synchronized trance is a complex telepathic practice. Things can go awry unless both participants trust each other and have a strong spiritual connection. However, I can sense that you do. I would be honored to be your guide during the ritual, Lord Captain. But remember, it's easy to get lost in another person's thoughts, and the fears of others house monsters. Alright, we're going to be put in a trance. However, ads are running, so I want to take a quick break. Go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a drink, go use the bathroom. I'm going to do exactly that, and I will be right back. Alright, I am back, and ads are about to end in 30 seconds. Alcat and Larian are both really good. They are. I will say, for me personally, it might have to do with the universe, but I like Rogue Trader quite a bit more than Baldur's Gate. But Baldur's Gate is not bad. Baldur's Gate is fantastic. But Rogue Trader, for me personally, is better. Like, Rogue Trade... No, Baldur's Gate is like a 7.5, 8 out of 10. Rogue Trader is like a 9.5 out of 10. That's the difference. Alright, I am prepared for the risk. Put us in a trance. I will stay in the chapel, Teophania, to hold a vigil in prayer. May the Emperor help you return this lost soul to the righteous path. May the God Emperor aid you, Lord Captain. And now we have to... Oh, it's one of these. Okay. Corona's Expanse, Von Valancia's flagship, material, The Book of the Dead, the Holy Scripture of the Cult of the Bloodspun Web, author unknown. A shackled mind cannot comprehend the wisdom contained herein. Therefore repeat, he is death. Release your breath with each word, cleanse your thoughts. He is death. Truth lies in death. Free your soul from the body's cage. Become nothing. He is death. Now that your heartbeat is a perfect line and your vision is shrouded in dusk, you have almost reached a state of purity and balance. Heed.
No human will see death before their time. That is the delusion of the living. Heed, to which we say, a strong spirit can travel there and make the journey back. Heed the tale of the great Domintia who descended into the kingdom of the dead to retrieve her shadow. He is death. Birth and death are one. We are snatched from a birth of warmth and sent blood-covered into an unfamiliar world. Dying is the same. The Domin, too, learned this as she opened her eyes and found herself on the lower decks, lying in a cold coffin. She beheld her ship drifting through nothingness, an adamantine giant's corpse, a skeleton moaning from the winds of entropy. A tempest of rust was gnawing at its plasteel bones and twisting its vein-like cables while machine oil oozed down its bulkheads like lymph. Had the Domin been alone, she would have lost her way inside the ship's mangled bowels. But a guide reached out a hand to her. The spirit of the old Veni Zachary had loyally followed the Domin to the other side. In the labyrinth of the hereafter, the piercing gaze of Veni Zachary discerned the thorny path to the halls of death. The loyal servant swore to protect his lady. Together, the Domin and the Veni made their way up through the malformed frame of the ship. From the cold catacombs of the lower decks, they traveled up into the fires of the ship's crematorium. Tongues of flame licked at them, yet they did not burn. Columns of the dead marched toward them to be turned into ash in the fire, and the Domin and the Veni walked toward the dead in turn. At the great gate of the crematorium, their path was blocked by the executioner, a sentinel made of metal spikes and coiling blades, with roaring flame and pale bleeding bodies writhing within. Such is a blade that has lost the strength of the tenets, a murderous monster no longer driven by faith, but by dark desires. The Domin saw a fight was inevitable and... let's see what her options are here. Struck the first blow, aiming for a weak spot. The blades and the spikes fell, clanging, and turned to rust. For bloodlust weakens a blade, and the Domin has proved as much. And a card of his tarot appeared in the Domin's hand. It was the God Emperor, and the first doubt was dispelled. He is death. He is death. Veni Zachary led the Domin out of the hot furnace of the crematorium, and they walked past long columns of the dead. Frayed was their attire, their bones scraped against their augmetics and scratched their decrepit flesh. They were moaning sorrowfully, and the sound made memory fade away. The Domin saw that the dead were carrying an ark, and inside the ark was a thing, a lost child cocooned in silk, shedding crimson tears for the unknown. The unliving carried her as a servant would carry their lady, and loudly lamented their fate. Such is a blade mired in broodings over a lost past, a helpless child paralyzed by regret. Lest she sink into the soft rot of their walls and perish, the Domin... Love how heavy the weight of this is cult stuff. Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, that is definitely the strongest strength of this game. As much as I love the combat, the exploration, the management, it's the writing that really is the shining beacon. And I like the writing of this better than the writing of Baldur's Gate. So, lest she sink into the soft rot of their whales and perish, the Domin
spoke gently to the lost child. And the lost child's tears were dried, and with a meek sigh she returned to nothingness. For mercy, too, can be the blade that brings peace. And a card of his tarot appeared in the Domin's hand. It was the star, and the second doubt was dispelled. He is death. He is death. Oh no, I agree, Aurelia. But not everyone agrees. Some people play this just for the combat and the, or these games, just for the combat and the gameplay. Do like challenge runs and stuff. Moon Eyes!
My lord, reinforcements have arrived!
Welcome on in, Moon Eyes. How was Dave the Diver? If you need to raid and run, if you need to go take care of yourself, I totally understand. Often when we're done streaming, the last thing we want to do is keep sitting at the computer. But for those raiders that don't know me, I am Bear Anderson. I am a variety streamer. I like to think of myself as a fairly chill guy. I play a lot of different games, a lot of CRPGs, shooters, action RPGs, that kind of stuff. And right now we are venturing into the mind of one of our companions in Rogue Trader, trying to help her come to terms with her doubts, so she can return to being my blade and shadow. There's a bit of, oh no, I have to fight what? But other than that, it was wonderful. I've not played Dave the Diver. I've seen like 5 minutes of gameplay. Hope we find the Mind Goblin. I think the Mind Goblin is in Kibella's mind. I think that's the whole problem. I think the Mind Goblin is behind this. Alright, let's continue. And the old Veni led the Domin to the upper decks, and the Domin entered into the officers' chambers. A web of veins adorned the walls, entangling the precious trophies, and statues were bound in intertwining sinews. And high upon a balcony, the dismembered judge wailed as he attempted to reassemble himself with his pale hands. But his movements merely tightened the tangle of the flesh, turning the chambers into a snare. Such is a blade tangled and trapped in misunderstood teachings, a hapless creature that does not know its place in the world. In order to continue her journey, the Domin studied the tangle of the web of the flesh for secret signs that would show her the way. And the Domin read the words and spoke them, and the judge's body began to rebuild itself into a new design, as beautiful as it was terrifying. For nothing is impossible when a soul has grasped the hidden wisdom. And a card of his tarot appeared in the Domin's hand. It was the Rogue Trader, and the third doubt was dispelled. He is death. He is death. The flagship's bridge was draped in skulls and webs, and pale souls of the dead flocked to the foot of the throne, upon which sat the undying emperor, the protector of mankind. May his praises be innumerable. Starlight shone coldly in the eyes of his skull, and the galaxy rested in his mighty hand. The Domin approached his throne and greeted him with pride and dignity. The undying emperor grinned a bony grin and cast a glance at the Domin. And at that moment, something died forever inside the Domin. For the price of arrogant pride in the face of death is always heavy, but worth its weight. Then the Undying One spoke, and these words are to be preserved in your heart as the greatest of prayers, for they sprang from a source that was and is the holiest of all things.
I know you, Domin. I know your heart, and the softness that dwells within it. Many who were due to pass on to me remained alive as your heart willed. But I am not angered, for they will pass on to me in the end. The undying Emperor, may his praises be innumerable, said no more, and it was the Domin's turn to speak. And speak the Domin did, saying that she had come to find her shadow and rescue her. The skeletal fingers stirred, and the Domin's shadow loomed out of the darkness beside his throne. She was bound in black chains and asleep. The Undying One was silent. Now was the time to offer a payment, as death would give nothing away without payment in return. And the Domin promised the Undying One nothing. For everything in the world is nothing, and the Undying One himself is Lord of nothing. Those were true words. For everything is indeed nothing, and the Undying Emperor is Lord of nothing. For all things live only to turn to dust in death. The Domin's wisdom pleased the Undying One. Then the Undying Emperor leant over the Domin and drove a skeletal finger right into her heart. And he pulled at the scarlet thread of her soul, and the thread trembled, stretched to the limit. It was then that a revelation came to the Domin. A life must be paid for a life. And a name was revealed to her, Naaki Erebus. That was the life the Undying One demanded as payment. And then the Domin agreed to the price. Welcome, Sierra Echo. Soylent Green is people? Oh, man, why'd you spoil that? I haven't watched that movie. It just came out 60 years ago, and I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. And yes, Moon Eyes, the Emperor would despair if he... at least the Emperor of the year 30,000 would despair seeing what the Imperium of the year 40,000 has become. It was also quite a culture shock for Robute Guillermin when he woke up. An oath of blood was sworn, and the chains fell from the Domin's shadow. Yet she remained silent and motionless, for she saw no sense in leaving the halls of death, to which the Domin told her. That she had been waiting for her, had missed her, and had come to claim her and keep her. And the eyes of the Domin's shadow opened, and she replied that she too had been waiting and had missed her, and that the Domin should claim her and keep her. He is death. He is death. The Domin and her shadow left the bridge of the Undying Emperor, may his praises be innumerable, and their path was strewn with his tarot cards. Among them, the Domin saw the card of the Executioner, who carries out sentences and brings a violent end to that which he did not begin. And among them, the Domin saw the card of the Lost Child, who was torn from her roots and her support, but carries within her the still hidden seeds of a promise to recover them someday. And among them, the Domin saw the card of the Judge, who weighs and separates guilt from innocence, and passes his verdict. And they descended into the lower bays, lay down in a stone coffin, and closed their eyes. And the Domin heard the Undying Emperor's voice promising they would meet again, and soon. And thereupon their journey ended, and so it was that the Domin, having seen death before her due time, travelled there and back to bring us these tidings and wisdom.
Be free of doubt as you walk along the threads of the blood-spun web, for those threads lead to him, as does all of existence. He is death.
I like it that it felt like I wasn't doing this live. Instead, I was going through a retelling as found in the Bloodspun Web's Bible, like maybe 100 years in the future. No, not Horus. Lorgar. Lorgar wrote the... I don't remember what it's called. I think it's called the Lectatio Diviniticus or something. Which is like the... Lorgar... No, Word Bearers. Lorgar Aurelius. He basically wrote the first treatise on the Emperor Divinitatis. Thank you. He wrote the first treatise on the Emperor being divine, which he was heavily punished for, and then later the Imperial cult adopted it as the foundation for their belief in the Emperor being divine. As the shock of another mind's jumbled thoughts stop constricting your throat, you find yourself staring at Kibella's pale face. It has settled into a strange expression. Domin Teophania. Are you well, Kibella? Do you remember what happened? How we met death?
I remember stumbling. I remember my doubt in the truth of the tenets throwing me off my feet. I remember deciding to kill, and not because I had heard his whisper, but because I deemed it to be right. Death whispered my name, for a spinner without a thread is like a sky without stars. They would drown in their own soul's darkness. But you have reminded me of who I am, and that my shameful weakness must be extinguished. Kibella looks away. This Naaki Erebus is the payment of the Undying One demands. The price of redemption. The price of freedom. Who is this person? Where are they from? I do not know. Help me find them, Domin. Your factotum oversees archives that contain many names. Let him find the one the death has spoken, and I will pay the price that was set. For I know, I feel with all my essence, the death of Naaki Erebus is the key, the answer to my questions.
Alright. So now let's level up
Death is
Kibella.
my duty.
Oh, she has a lot of ranks available. Let's just take that. Let's just take some simple, straightforward things. I don't want to spend a week on this. Open the veins. No. No. Fuck it. I'll just do characteristics agility. Let's take that. Puncture sounds promising. Let's just do that. Don't need that. Do we want? I think we use Medicae for something with her, so we'll get that. I think she gets her health from Medicae. Don't want any of that. There we go. Grab that. Grab more weapon skill. More weapon skill. What do we get here? Oh, now we have the ones that cause wounds to use. Yeah, that's too much of a wall of text. Alright, we're done. Oh, we're not done. Never mind. This is the only thing I don't like about this game, is leveling up gets a little tedious. There we go. Alright, let's go talk to Generous Danrock and see if he knows this person we need to kill.
Follow my lead.
Does anyone here like rib tips or burnt ends? I haven't had either. Wouldn't mind trying them though. Level up systems kill the game for you. I don't think it's quite that bad, Bill. Not for me, but yeah, like I said, it is a little tedious. I think it's, honestly, I think it's a good system. It's just the way you just have 10 characters thrown at you. Here, level up 10 separate characters all at once. It just grinds the game to a halt. And I think that's a shame. I don't know how else they could have implemented it to make it not do that. But I do think it detracts a little from the game. Alright, Generous Danrock. It's going to be over here, right? Yes. I must locate someone named Naki Erebus. Find whatever information you can. Erebus. The clan name is familiar. If I may ask your ladyship to give me a little time, the flagship's archives being vast as they are, I will spare no effort in finding Naki Erebus as soon as possible. High Factotum pokes a triumphant finger at the data slate. I found them, your ladyship. The Erebus family are a lesser Voidborn clan. They served in the boarding teams for many generations, spilling blood in the name of the dynasty. In the service of her ladyship Theodora, Erebuses displayed impeccable heroism on several occasions. Ultimately, the clan was all but wiped out 2 decades ago during a confrontation with enemies of humanity. For their valor and sacrifice, Lady Theodora granted the surviving members of the clan noble estate privileges and the right to settle on the capital world. Oh, it's not common for Voidborn to settle on a planet. Gravity is merciless to the Voidborn, but that does not mean they are incapable of adapting to it. Living on the capital world is a reward worth putting in the effort for. And what about Naki? The name Naki appears in reports. At least a dozen different women bore it over the several centuries, but there is no data on any living person with that name. The head of the Erebus family will likely have more information about the past 2 decades of their clan's history on Dagonis. Well, I must go to Dagonis. I will send the dynasty's representative on the capital world an instruction to summon the Erebus family to the palace. Well, that is perfect, because I am heading to Dagonis. So, with all the stuff that keeps happening and cropping up along the way, I just want to summarize that what we have done this stream is go... Where were we? I think we were here. We went from here to here. 2 jumps. And that has taken us 2.5 hours. Because stuff kept happening. And I think that is both a strength and a weakness of the game. I sometimes get a little frustrated with it because I kind of lose my train of thought. It's like I'm doing something and then something else jumps in and pulls me away from that, which does clash a little bit with my particular kind of autism, but at the same time I love how dense and rich the game is, and I love how living the world feels because things keep happening. So it's definitely both a big plus and a small minus in my book. Anyway, we made it to Dagonis, and that is where we are going to lay off for tonight. Slightly shorter stream tonight. I have some things I need to take care of tomorrow, so this is where we will be saving and raiding out.